I've lived in the North since 1989, and I've lived in other hinterland communities, and it makes me genuinely sad that the people who sometimes have contributed most of their lives, whether the working miners, their partners, the nurses, the school teachers, and all of the other people that have worked so hard to keep communities going, have been respected so little in the futures of their communities and for their children. And I would like to not just talk about issues and have research that supports the same old type of development models, but to kind of really think what could change. What can we really contribute that may make those lives more valuable in the development of the future? The ordinary lives of communities to be so much brighter and happier and abundant. It's just the system that is flawed, and the way the dominant kind of development and thinking is going is a large part of that. So it needs a look. In my opinion, one of the starting points of any turnaround for community development is democracy, where people have a real say and control in what happens to their communities. And I don't mean a phony one where they have to be beholden to multinational corporations, of one where their government has a more local power to deal with issues of closures and the directions of development. I'm certainly one who thinks that you can see in the example of Schumacher the results of amalgamation that take the heart out of democracy. Through amalgamation, through loss of community identity, through loss of control over the economic development and so on. Sometimes they fumble along and work, but sometimes they fail. I think you can see signs of failure in several of the northern amalgamations. But we want to look at detail and in depth of the changes that occurred in Schumacher and some other communities that were amalgamated into Timmins, and to see what were the dynamics that led to this, what were the assumptions, what were the false hopes, what were the false pieces of information, and what also was the power relationship that occurred that kind of put the whole process in a collision course with the interests of the people. Those are big questions, but we have to learn the answers because it's not going to leave us. We still have problems of community control and lack of development. As I say, the people of the North need to know what some of these answers are and better ways to do things, and so our project is addressing that, with the heart of it being democracy, economic and political democracy. I've done quite a bit of academic research, and some of it ends up on bookshelves, and students and other researchers can learn from it. Nowadays we also have the internet, which helps, but I feel like that it's time for us to put some of this to film, to really bring some of these deeper issues into a full-length documentary as the basis of the project. But also we can take components that could be used as modules in classrooms or for focused discussions and debates. And not just in Northern Ontario. I mean, these could be taken to other places, and one hopes that we would have the resources also to make this in French as well as in English. And I look forward to the day that maybe a discussion of the amalgamations of Northern Ontario, especially of Timmins, can be used to kind of stimulate similar debates in many, many parts of the country, the United States, other countries. And finally, I would like to have a discussion of lessons, both from the people themselves as well as lessons that come from the research, as to what can we give to the future generations so they don't make the mistakes that we made or our parents or grandparents made on these questions. I would like us to leave a legacy. I would like us to leave something substantial that can stimulate the debate and carry the struggle forward to have a more balanced, prosperous, and optimistic future.